Okay. Is the right side? All right, what's up, everybody? It is iCkEdMeL. Let me okay, we're good. Want to make sure the audio is good. I'm on StreamYard, so just want to double check that you guys can see me, hear me, everything looks good. Welcome, and we're going to be talking a bit about Letecia Stauch, the family, the case. We have a special guest coming on in a couple of minutes. Get some tea. And I have some questions and feedback that I took from you guys on Discord. Let's give it a second here. Okay. And I was wondering too if you guys got notifications. Let's see. Okay, yep. Good. Amazing. So the person we're gonna have on today, let me test out the screen share, see how that works. Okay. This is their YouTube, no, this is their web page, and then they have a YouTube page as well. This was actually one of their videos here. I'll start out with that real quick before she comes on. This was actually really kind of funny. And I actually wanted to ask her, maybe when she comes on, I'll ask her. I wanted to ask her if I could use this audio because it was just, check this out. Letecia Stauch. This was really well put together.
Whatever. Anyway, whatever.
Right there.
Whatever. You know, whatever. I don't know. I'm not speculating. So, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yep, bam. So then, whatever. Yada, yada, yada. Whatever. So whatever. Yada, yada, yada. Whatever. You know, yada, yada, yada. Whatever, yada, yada. So whatever. Whatever. Yada, yada, yada. Whatever. You know, whatever. So then, whatever. Yada, yada, yada. Well, so then, at that point, I mean, let me get to that part. He's screaming, crying, whatever. So, whatever. And was anything else, whatever it was. Gannon, this happened, yada, yada, yada. All right, so.
If you guys could hit like too, please, I'd appreciate it. Share the stream out, all that good stuff. Help me out with the likes. And we will be back here tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, Friday, because there's trial tomorrow. So Friday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, back at the trial.
Yada, yada. So then, well, whatever. So, to get to the next part, whatever it was, I said, Gannon, why do you have blood on your wall? So on and so on. Yada, yada, yada. So whatever, same thing. Yada, yada, yada. Whatever it may be. So then, yada, 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 the Palmer Lake area, whatever. So, fast forwarding on, whatever, yada, yada. Whatever you want to call it. Yada, yada, yada. Something. Or whatever it may be. Whatever you want to call it. So then, whatever it may be. You know, doing crazy things, whatever. Play it in my head again.
Jeez.
Who do you have me on speakerphone with? Because I know you do.
What are you talking about, Tisha?
Can you turn up that volume? I can't control the volume on that. Did it sound low for you guys when it was playing? Maybe I should download the app. That's not actually her. That's just her YouTube video playing. But and we're not going to be playing videos. It's just going to be this person talking. But yeah, that's Letecia, man.
Who's listening to my conversation?
Me and you. I'm trying to figure out. Like I told you the whole time, the truth. I just want the truth.
So that was a clip that she put together. And she is here now. I'm going to add her to the stream. This is Jennifer Knight. At the stream. Do I need to unmute you? Oh, okay, you're muted, actually.
Nope, I did it.
Hi, how you doing? Welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Good. Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. I'm also glad that we don't have court on Thursdays. You know, at first I was thinking, you know, let's do 5 days a week. We're already looking at 6 to 8 weeks. But now that I've sat through a couple of days, I'm glad we have Thursdays off.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I want to know, like, what's your experience been sitting there in the trial?
Yeah, so my name is Jennifer Knight. Please forgive me, I didn't sleep super well last night, but I'm here for it.
Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Knight. I run a website called Crime Curious. I've also just started to do content on YouTube, and the channel is picking up fairly quickly. My day job is that I work for a private investigator here in Colorado Springs, and I'm a project manager for cold cases. And I'm writing a book, not about Letecia, kind of like I told you. The book is not about Letecia as much as I'm sure she would love that.
Right.
That's not what I'm here for. But it's about due process and the case against her because, throughout this whole process, I just had so many questions. And so I started reaching out to attorneys and, people that I know through the day job and forensic psychiatrists even, just trying to get my head around what's going on in this case because it's incredibly complex and confusing. All of the things that
It
have
is.
happened over the last 3 years. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Let me start out with this. And this was from Lutfi. He was asking, he said, Jennifer, you spoke about writing a book with regards to the predicament/trial. Could you elaborate on the point you mentioned during the call yesterday, which is open intelligence in the court of public opinion?
Yeah. So the bulk of the book is about due process in the case against Letecia, but it's also about open source intelligence in the court of public opinion. So basically, what information people like us, what information do we have and where does that information stop and why and how does that all work and who makes the decisions and and in this case we had like the affidavit was leaked by
Right.
up in Brighton,
Can you,
things like that.
can you tell us about that a little bit too? Because I heard that person was charged and everything. When did that happen? Like the time frame?
I have
Or
to.
around?
Well, okay, so the affidavit was submitted to the court on February 28th, and then Letecia was arrested on March 2nd of 2020. And if I'm remembering correctly, that affidavit went out, I think, in like a Facebook group in April.
Wow.
Yeah, and they found the lady who did it, and she was charged with abusing access to sealed documents, basically. And so she lost her job. That was the main consequence. And then she pled guilty to whatever the charge was. Excuse me. And then she paid like $299.50 in fees or court fines or whatever. And we haven't heard anything from her since.
Wow. Incredible.
I just don't know what would compel somebody to do that.
Right. Especially like with this case, it's for the murder of a child, and you're just leaking out documents. I don't know for what purpose, attention or what. Let me ask you this, and we're just gonna bounce around everywhere.
Okay.
Can you tell or fill us in, Landon, the biological mother? Like a lot of people keep asking, and I know they were very I hear in the beginning of this case or story, they were really critical. Even the attorney had tried to bring up some of the things during the trial. I mean, do you have any thoughts or maybe you can explain just the whole, I don't know, the custody situation or the military life as far as he had her this time, she had him this time?
Yeah, I don't know that I could do a much better job of explaining the custody situation than what's kind of already out there. I can tell you that Albert is now remarried, so his new wife is, sitting next to him and supporting him in the courtroom, and then in the aisle or in the row behind that is Landon, who's Gannon's mom, and her aunt, I think, and they don't acknowledge each other in the courtroom. I mean, there's not a nod, there's not a hello, it's not ugly. They're very respectful, but there's definitely some, behind the scenes stuff, which how could they not be, right? But they did have a very ugly custody battle, and they've been through a lot. I think in the beginning, they were really working together and had kind of a unified front, and when they talked to the cameras and did the press conferences and And I think that that is just not how it is anymore. So.
Okay. The other thing, okay, I kind of wanted to ask you about this too. So at the time, Letecia Stauch, there was like I guess from the state hospital, they had, I guess the psychiatrist or the doctor had said that she was sane.
Right.
And then we got the defense attorney, Will Cook. He hires this expert, Dorothy Lewis, and she finds Letecia Stauch as that she had a psychotic crack at the time.
Right.
I was just kind of curious of your thoughts on that. And is this person going to come in? Because I didn't see her on the witness list. It was kind of late on in. I thought they brought this psychotic crack thing up.
Leticia's so over the last 3 years and some of the research that I've been doing for the book, I've reached out to a lot of her pen pals, much like she was all over Facebook when Gannon was missing. When she first got locked up, she was writing letters like crazy to all kinds of strangers. And there's a letter from October of 2020 where she signed it Janelle Carmen Stauch instead of, Letecia. And then there's another one that she sent to somebody else. In fact, I've got them right here. Let me see.
And while you're looking for that, what was the name that came up in court too? They said, I forgot the other name that she called herself.
Taylor.
Have you heard of that before this trial? Like, has that been around?
Yeah. So, let me just grab these. Bear with me. I didn't sleep real well last night, and
no, you're good.
To be quite honest, it was because of the photo of Gannon.
You saw that, right? So,
yeah.
I was kind of taking. They actually showed him. We only saw like a cut off portion of that, but they showed him deceased.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. So a lot of us have seen all the letters that she wrote to the judge, and there's like 14 handwritten pages where were you aware that she filed a federal lawsuit against the jail?
No.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. Really? So she's real big on her constitutional and civil rights. And
I was going to ask you too, with regards to that. I heard that she had written a letter to something about peanut butter. Do you know about that, or what was the deal with that?
Yeah, I've got that one right here too. She was saying that she was getting threats in her peanut butter, and there are some things there have been little nuggets that I've heard in court that I know they're going to expand upon later. But one of them in the opening statements, Michael Allen, the district attorney, he mentioned the word cartel. And that's because at one point she was trying to say that, Gannon had been kidnapped by someone that she codenamed Edgar.
Oh, yeah.
And then she went out in the press, Crime Online. Lee Egan is a reporter, and she's also been subpoenaed to testify. I know that.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
She had exclusive interviews, right, with the mother.
Yeah. With Letecia.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Letecia. In fact, that's who she was trying to present that fake polygraph to. She was trying to get Lee Egan to meet her at a Starbucks in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so that she could hand her these, independent polygraph examination results. And we all know that didn't work out in her favor. So then she lied to Lee Egan and said that she had safety concerns, so she wouldn't be able to meet with her. But yeah, it's a 2-part interview. Part one came out on February 27th of 2020. And then part 2 came out on February 29th of 2020. So he had only been gone about a month at that point. They hadn't found his body yet. And Letecia's in South Carolina calling fakepolygraph.com and setting up exclusive interviews with anyone who she can. She's, a lot of people have seen all the screenshots of how active she was on Facebook, mostly about her, of course. But there are, I've got a screenshot where she's talking about how she's going to hire Jose Baez. Do you know who that is?
No, who's that?
Casey Anthony's attorney.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, yeah, I've got that screenshot too. But then there's another one where she's talking to this person about this polygraph as if it's real, and it's just screenshots of direct messages, and she's talking about this polygraph examination and how her attorneys can use it in the closing arguments. And then, basically the prosecution is going to object, and then the judge will tell the jury to disregard it, but they can still sneak it in there and you can't unhear that information. This is before she even gets arrested. She's talking about closing arguments with attorneys who don't even exist yet. And you're going to tell me that she couldn't form intent because her mental state was so, I mean, she's probably working on her appeal at night right now.
Wow.
Anyway, so here's one of the letters. So these are copies of letters that she sent to a couple of different YouTubers that I've gotten to know over the last few years. And one is to Kit Kat. So this is from June of 2020. And I'm not a handwriting expert, but I'm checking it out. And then it gets real crazy. I'm just going to read you part of it, okay? Now,
Go ahead, please. Thank you.
keep in mind that this is a letter. I don't know if you can see this.
And these are the text messages, I guess you're referring to, I think.
Some of them probably.
Some of them.
I can't really see.
I can't even read it. It's kind of blurred out. Okay, Bias Law Firm. Okay, yeah.
Right.
And
Oh
I'm
yeah, no,
pulling
that's
color up today.
actually a different screenshot than what I have. So, she was telling a whole lot of people a whole lot of things.
Okay.
Can you see this signature here?
Let's see. How can I move you around? I guess it's the best I can do. But yeah, I do see it.
So it says Janelle Carmen Stauch, December 2019, aka
Wow.
October 2020. So in this 5-page letter that Letecia or Janelle or whatever she wants to call herself wrote to Kit Kat, which, like I said, was a YouTube channel. She's explaining these personalities. Bear with me. Sometimes reading this stuff, I just get a little. The sarcasm comes out in my voice, and I just can't.
That's okay.
Okay. Hello, I apologize if this letter surprises you, but I noticed that we had exchanged letters before. I got your letter and cards, and thank you very much. First, I don't recall talking to you or anyone else. In fact, it has came to my attention that I missed a whole year, or that I have experienced too many head traumas or something of that nature. Let me explain. I'm not even convinced that it is 2020. I have been reading through journals since April, and I don't remember any of this stuff, and I think I'm involved in some conspiracy. Some of the stuff is very confusing because none of the stuff is true. I've never hurt anyone. While reading it, I discovered someone named Missy has been verbally abusing to me, that others have been physically abusive, and that I'm in an emotional disturbance. Honestly, I'm supposed to be here in training for my powers. Last month, I stopped working at my job. Last month. This is October of 2020.
Wow.
But she's trying to say that in her mind, it's December of 2019.
Wow.
I'll put a link to this YouTuber's channel in chat.
Yeah,
if
please.
People will. These are not my letters, but she did give me permission to use them. So I have never exchanged letters with Letecia, although I did consider what I could do to get arrested and thrown in the El Paso County jail. Anyway, I'm sorry, where was I? Oh, yeah, I'm in an emotional disturbance. Honestly, I'm supposed to be here in training for my powers. Last month, I stopped working at my job because I kept seeing Justice and Jasper a lot. However, I finally turned into a vampire in training, and I changed my name to Janelle. Please don't be afraid. We are not dangerous. We practice differently. I read some letters that you sent and realized I had called you too. And those phone calls are recorded on this YouTuber's channel as well. The call from jail. I don't remember any of this, so I wanted to apologize if you haven't heard from me. This whole thing is crazy. People keep talking about attorneys whom I have never met and trying to chain me up and take me. I'm not going with these people unless the vulture tells me to. Justice doesn't feed off the living. He does off the dead. So I'm sure that will be the same for all new trainees. I even found a book that I wrote detailing actual events and being a victim of organized crime, delivering items to people and taking suitcases to Florida with money.
Wow.
Once I denied or said no, I was harassed, chased, and that's how all this came about with Edgar. So she's codenamed this guy Edgar, and she's trying to say that her husband owed Edgar tens of thousands of dollars for some bad gambling debt because they were playing high stakes poker, and this guy's like some sort of underground, mafioso type figure. And that's what she told Lee Egan. She was saying back then, she was saying that Edgar, who was a real person, by the way.
Is it really? I thought she just concocted this guy.
Nope, Edgar is a real person that she codenamed. He's got a business and a house here in Colorado, and he's associated with the property where that particle board was found.
What the heck? I never knew this. So the Eduardo, Edgar, whatever they're referencing in the probable cause affidavit?
Yeah, so right now we're at the point with those god-awful phone calls we've been listening to in court where it went from, Eduardo to Quincy Brown. Edgar's going to come in later, buckle up. It's called figurines because they concealed it in Christmas items, etc., like a lamp antique item ornament. Long story short, apparently that's how I'm involved because I wouldn't take the suitcases to Florida all the times I went. Trust me, I think I'm in some game stopping or conspiracy. I don't know if she meant gaslighting. I don't. To have a doctorate in education, let me tell you, these are not easy to read. She's something else. None of the journals make sense, nor do I recall. I'm supposed to move back to South Carolina next month when Al goes to a training, and I'm going to work with the airlines. Then I read a journal entry that said this happened already, and he and I wouldn't bring the suitcases with figurines from a January cruise, and it cost us. Can you see why I feel like someone is playing some sick joke, saying people are dead, etc.? Then I get another note last week asking did I take money that was stashed in a figurine and to keep my mouth closed about the cartel. Girl, this is insane. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I know Edgar, and I know they had a family business, but I don't know if he is involved or why. My babysitter, Angelica, is terrified. Her babysitter's name is Stephanie. I don't even know if I might just send people, over the channels to look at the rest of this, but
what was that YouTuber's page?
Okay, so it's at Kit KIT 9168 at Kit 9168.
9168. Okay.
Yeah. So she's writing this and she signs it in Janelle, and she goes on to talk about this vampire in training business. P.S. Once I'm finished and have full powers, I won't be here or able to write anymore. But until then, I'll keep in touch if I can. Sometimes I get to buy stuff, but I don't know how it will work once I complete this training. And she signed it, with an alternate name. And but inside this letter, she goes into explaining her educational background, because I guess when she wrote this letter, there were a lot of people, doing the research and the online sleuthing and looking into whether her doctorate was bogus or not. And so she goes into great detail explaining it, but she prefaces it by saying, you're like the third person to ask me about my education. So I had some mental health lady look it up. See, because she's trying to write in this alternate personality. I'm not a psychiatrist, but everything I've seen is just, it's such horse shit. I don't know if I can cuss on your channel. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. We're good. It's all good. Live stream.
It's
So,
really difficult stuff.
Do you think this is going to come up in court or no?
I don't know. Well, I think that Edgar is going to come up in court.
Right.
And so far, that's the only connection I can make to Rhode Island, because he also owns properties and businesses in Rhode Island, this Edgar gentleman. And there are law enforcement professionals from Rhode Island that are on the prosecution's witness list. And I wonder if that's, if that's the Rhode Island connection, because prior to now, I haven't heard anything about Rhode Island. But here, she talks about Gannon as if he's still alive. And she talks about it all feels, I don't even want these in my hand anymore.
So I'm wondering, and so by the way, people in the chat, this is Crime Curious, okay? And I have the links to her channel. It's actually in the title of the video, so if you want to check her out later and subscribe, send some love. And I have a couple of questions from Discord, and then what I have in a little bit is I have a friend that she's going to capture. Wait right now, but in a little bit I'll tell you when you can put in questions in the chat, and I'll have somebody send me the screenshots and we can ask some of the questions.
Okay.
But so I was wondering too, this whole thing with these letters too, it's like, what in the world?
Right. And this to a stranger from YouTube.
Do you believe
purpose, in my opinion?
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, do you think this is her? So what do they diagnose her as? Supposedly DID, I think.
Yeah, dissociative identity disorder. And I've been studying that doctor as well. Dorothy Lewis. Yeah, Dorothy Lewis.
Yeah.
And the defense, I went to a lot of the pretrial hearings as well. And in fact, I think right in front of me, I witnessed Letecia fake a switch, in my opinion. It was that day that she made us wait like 45 minutes because she was refusing to come into the courthouse from the van and, complaining about her civil rights and all that stuff. And so when she finally did come in, she was all hunched over and she was real sluggish. And I was in that front row behind the defense that day. And right when she got to the defense table, she snaps to, and all of a sudden she's looking around and then she sat down and acted right. But as she was walking in, yeah, and I really feel like that was her faking a switch. I mean, it's my opinion. I'm not a doctor, but, and then I think back to the times in court where I don't know how much you've really followed the case or, all of this crazy stuff that goes around it. Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of crazy. And I hate to use that word in this case since she's trying to get by with not guilty by reason of insanity.
That's the thing, like, because I keep using that term, like, and I'm watching, I'm like, wow, this woman is crazy. But then I'm thinking, like, wait, she's trying to say she's insane. So it's like given to her case or, of trying to be not guilty by reason of insanity.
I think that she had several things that she was, she has these things that she can pivot to. So at first, there's, you've heard all the stories, just from court so far that she gave her husband, that went from Eduardo to Quincy, and there was assault and there, all of this stuff. And then, the next turn that we're going to take is into this Edgar business and the cartel, which again is nonsense. Now his name is not on the witness list. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know how they're going to present it. And if you're the prosecuting attorney, if you're the district attorney, how do you bring in all of this crazy in a linear sort of way to give it to a jury so as not to just absolutely overwhelm them?
Right.
So not guilty by reason of insanity. I have seen a lot of people say, well, big deal, so she'll go to the mental hospital instead of prison. But I disagree. I think she belongs in prison. She's earned it. And the thing about her going to the mental institution, so if she gets found not guilty by reason of insanity, yes, she does get locked up on a civil commitment and she goes to the mental institution. But then once a year, every year she has the opportunity to petition the board for a release. And we already know this woman doesn't quit, you know, and so then that means like Gannon's family once a year, every year would have to be put right back in the reality of this thing and make sure, you know, that she isn't released. I mean, it just, and I don't know if the conditions are better at the mental hospital than they are at prison.
That's what I was wondering too.
I don't know.
I want to do some research. You know, somebody commented in my chat the other day, and they were like that if Letecia does go to a mental hospital, she says that she works at the facility that she would go to. I got to try to find her because I am kind of curious what the difference would be in the conditions versus like prison and the state hospital.
Yeah, that's a question I have as well. It's called CMHIP. So Colorado Mental Health Institute at Pueblo is where she would go. And those are the doctors that did that first sanity evaluation. And that's something else I learned. So, and I'm going to be going live tonight at 6 on my channel. But what I do is I bring in a local practicing criminal defense attorney, and then I just let people ask questions.
Nice.
You know, I mean, there's a lot
What time is that? You said
6
6 your time?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 8 Eastern. If you guys want to, I'll go there and watch too. If you guys want to come later, hang out in the chat.
He's great. And, you know, he's really good at taking this incredibly complex stuff and explaining it in simple English, you know, so that I can understand it.
Right. That's good.
And,
yeah.
So I've got a bunch of questions for him. Where was I going with that? Not guilty by reason of insanity. Mental hospital. I'm not sure. Please.
I have a couple of things. I have plenty to ask you. Yeah. So
okay. All right.
Cool. So legendary CEO, this was from last night. He asked, well, this kind of do you think she will testify? Her personality suggests yes, but it may deter her plea. Like, what do you think, Letecia?
I think that she will. And my guest tonight, Chris, we talked about that last week, and he absolutely believes that she will testify. He just said that, you know, he's seen enough people like her to know that this is her sort of last gasp, and she wants the stage. You know, she's one of the most self-centered people I've ever studied. Listen, she's so self-centered that she's surrounded herself with other versions of herself.
Right.
And I have to watch it too, because you know what? There is a mental health crisis. It is real. I just think that she is faking it, you know, but that's no different than her lying about assault. You know, how does that feel if you're a true victim of that? And my biggest concern, the thing that I have a hard time with, is the way she always wants to be seen as the victim. She's not the victim. You know, even in those phone calls where she's screeching about immunity. It's all about her. This guy's trying to find his son, and she's only worried about herself. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Becky had a question too. Becky P says, which, if any, of her family are in the gallery? I know you said, what Letecia's family? None? Okay. I know you said Gannon's father, Al, his wife, and then Landon's there too. But as far as Letecia, her family, so Harley's not, you haven't seen her?
No.
Okay.
No, but I do believe she reached out to me. I put out like a 3-minute video, and the title of the video was called Harley Hunt's Pretrial Vacation.
I didn't watch it, but I saw the title.
It was just 3 minutes. I didn't give my opinion. I did not go after this girl in any way, but there are some rabid people out there who came at me. I mean, you would have thought that I broke into this girl's house and rummaged through her underwear drawer and found a secret video and put it on the internet.
Right.
No, she's a social media influencer. It's what she calls herself. She put this stuff out there. It rubbed me wrong to see her hold up a suitcase and talk about how she linked to the suitcase if people want to buy the suitcase on Amazon. To me, that was in poor taste. Okay. It's you know, and then I also read from her GoFundMe. She has an active GoFundMe where she's looking for $5,000 from the general public. Anyhow,
Wow, I'm like shocked. All the things
yeah,
I'm hearing.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. You're welcome to play it if you want to. It's only like
Just gonna
3
skip it,
minutes.
just show them. But oh, so there's the GoFundMe.
Yeah, and then I just basically read that, and then when it goes to her, you can see her videos. And they're just, clips of what she had out on pack with me to go out of the country.
Yeah, she has like a YouTube page and she has like TikTok, I heard, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That leads me to my next question. Flossie was wondering.
Wait. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Hold
sorry.
on, real quick. So I put that video out, and people came for me. The torches and the pitchforks were like full effect. So much that I shut the comments off on the video.
Oh yeah.
And then on another video of mine, I get so Harley's boyfriend's name is Tremone Hester. He goes by Trey. And so I get a message from Tremone Hester, and it's got his picture, and it starts out, in regular letters, and he's upset that I did not. I'm basically accused me of lying, and I didn't tell a story. I just played some
about
clips
this video.
Words, yeah. So I believe it was her. She was in Grenada at the time. She left the country 2 weeks before jury selection, and it was all over her social media accounts. And so anyway, he sends me this message, and it says that next time you need to get it true and clear and true next time. And then in all capital letters, it was kind of threatening, and I have screenshots. Anyway, I responded the nicest way I could. And it was tough. I responded the nicest way I could. And I said, look, I'm glad that she has your support. And I'm glad that she's actively seeing a therapist. I wish no harm on this girl. I think a lot of us are just wondering if she's going to come back to the country and go to her mother's trial. Because, I mean, who leaves the country 2 weeks, whatever. I mean,
I know.
As far as I know, she's back and she's going to testify. She's been subpoenaed to testify for both the prosecution and the defense. She's on both lists. And, but anyway, so, and then she, I believe it was her, responded again. And there was like little red hearts. And she said, thank you. And then she said, days ahead. And then there was like a red heart. I just don't feel like her boyfriend is sending me red hearts, and how much have we seen with Letecia using other people's accounts to talk to people and defend herself and so I just had this image, at a minimum, she was sitting right next to him or using his phone or whatever, and then I sent her back a screenshot. She's so mad. So what she said was, Harley Hunt left the country to see her boyfriend, not to go on vacation. That's how it started, how she came at me. And if you look at that video, there's like, I don't know, 20 different hashtags at the bottom of it. And it says #vacation. Again, not my words. So when I said, Harley Hunt's pretrial vacation, her video said #vacation. Right. But now I'm a jerk because I said Harley went on a vacation, and it's not a vacation. She's there to see her boyfriend. That's not a vacation. Sorry.
No, I get it. I've had stuff like that happen before in different stories that I covered. People get kind of upset. That's interesting that you've had those interactions. I wanted to ask you too, on the topic of Harley. So Flossie was wondering, she says Harley was on the drive with Letecia to Florida, right? And wasn't the body of Gannon in that, I think it was a van or something?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's just, wow.
Yeah. And it's unclear so far. See, one of the hardest things about the trial starting now, I'm trying to, it's almost like I have to kind of walk in with a clean slate, because all of the research I've done over the last 3 years, all that matters is what happens in front of that jury. It's up to them entirely. And I have access to information that they're not going to have access to. And the only thing that they can base their decision on is the evidence that's presented to them at trial. So as I'm hearing these things come up in trial, I'm really, and it's difficult because I do know so much about the case. It's hard to sit there and put myself in the shoes of the jury. I have been watching the jury really closely.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. A lot of people are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting mix of people. And they've been good about asking questions. They were asking questions yesterday about that body cam footage.
Yeah, that part where like the defense is like, I think it was the body camera thing. He's just like, you know what? We'll make it easy. We don't have any questions. I was
Right.
like, and then the jury, even the jury had some questions. I was like, what in the world is up with the defense?
Right. Well, and I think that we're going to see other angles and other views through other witnesses. You
Okay.
know, he's not the only person who's going to testify from the Colorado Springs Police Department.
Okay.
And, you know, there was some confusion. So I don't know how much you could see. It seemed like you could see like the bottom of the
The
screen.
bottom half. Yeah, like the bottom.
Right. So one thing that I did want to point out, because I don't think it was clear, in that body cam footage, because Letecia walked out into the garage to get her ID while he was out in the garage with his flashlight, you know, looking around.
Yeah.
I don't know why didn't he turn on the lights? Anyway,
Sure.
during that body cam footage that I watched yesterday, he lifted the hatch was opened and there was nothing back there. I think a lot of people thought that the suitcase was in the back of her car because of something that came out at the preliminary hearing. I guess one of the police officers kind of glanced in there, but he couldn't tell if there was anything in there or not. But on the body cam footage yesterday, that hatch was lifted and he shined his flashlight in there and there was no suitcase.
Wow.
I felt like they were trying to set it up. You know how they kept talking about all those boxes in the storage room?
Yes.
I felt like that's where the district attorney's office is going with that they're going to try and say maybe, you know, that those boxes that's where he was.
Wow.
But I don't know. I mean, we won't know until it happens.
With regards to the jury, and so Mo was asking this, how are the jury doing at key moments? There have been a lot of times where I'll hear something and just burst into tears. Has she noticed the jury tearing up or showing anger at certain parts, any facial expressions or anything?
I haven't seen any, you know, like emotional things. I mean, people in the gallery. I mean, I've cried at least twice. You know, something will just get to me, and then I try to be as discreet as possible because right in front of you in the row, there's a notice, you know, that says, you know, no emotional outburst. If you can't control yourself, you know, discreetly step out of the courtroom.
Right.
And you know, and they have little boxes of Kleenexes, and they have those boxes of Kleenex over by the jury, but I haven't seen emotion. I have seen a couple of eye rolls from one in particular, like during the phone calls. I think that really started to get to the jury. I didn't go to court on Tuesday, so I went Monday afternoon and I was in person for those opening statements. And it was just a little tougher than I had maybe expected. I've never been to a murder trial before, you know, and I've been researching this case for 3 years, and you know, Gannon has come to me in my dreams a couple times for what it's worth. And it was a lot. I was a lot more emotional than I thought I would be. But the jury is there to get down to business, you know, and they all have been provided with notebooks so they can take notes and
they
they
got
can
notes
ask
too?
those questions. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
And something I wanted to tell you. So do you remember during the opening statements when the defense attorney was up? So it was after, you know, he walked all the way to the door and then back up. He said a bit about how they can't make eye contact with him. Listen, I was watching right in that moment.
I forgot about that.
Every single one of those jurors was making eye contact with him in that moment. See, but I guess if you're a jury, you can't look to the next, you don't maybe, oh, he must be talking about somebody else. No, he just pulled that out of his pocket because they were all listening very intently to both attorneys. So I thought that was a little, and what's with him constantly mispronouncing names?
That's what I heard he keeps doing. Yeah, I noticed that.
Gannon's mother, could you please get her name right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has to be on purpose, right? Although what was like one of the questions he asked yesterday was something that the witness had already said. Oh, about the buccal swabs.
Yes.
He's like, well, were you present in the room when that was done? I just said I did it.
That's the thing. I thought and I said the same thing when we were streaming, and I'm like, it's almost like I know they take notes probably, and they have like probably talking points, but it's almost like he's not listening or something, or he's just still sticking to, even though the guy answered it already, he's still asking the same question again redundantly, and I'm just like,
right.
I don't know.
And they have these huge binders sitting on the defense table, and one of them, like on the front of my binder, there's like this, so he had one, and on the front of it said FBI Stauch, and that binder was it was big. And I don't know if they just have it's all even their technology is kind of janky, they just don't seem very organized.
Does the attorney, like the defense attorney, does he seem kind of like flustered a bit? I mean, I know you're looking from the back there, or do you, I don't know. I mean, it's a really tough case to take on, but does it seem like just kind of like, I don't know. I get like the defeated almost feeling from him, but I'm not sure.
I don't think that he actually is. I think he's confident, and I've heard really good things about him as a defense lawyer.
Okay.
From other attorneys and things like that. He's got a good reputation.
Will Cook, right?
Well, Josh Tellini and Will Cook.
Oh, the guy that did the opening statements. Who's that? Is it Josh Tellini or Will Cook?
That was Will Cook.
That was Will Cook.
That was Will Cook.
Okay.
Something else I noticed yesterday, and I guess on Monday as well. He's really crowding that podium. Like there'll be one attorney over by Letecia, but then the other attorney is just, he could just like reach into the district attorney's pocket if he wanted to. Like, why? I don't know. I just assume that it's all tactical.
What's your thoughts on Letecia being off like to the corner on the side and like her, kind of behind the monitor? It reminded me of that interview she did where her head's turned, she's not even facing the camera. Any thoughts on that?
It's tough. I like how you have it set up where you've got it zoomed in on her.
Yeah.
So it's cool because I have my experience during the day, and from that angle in the back of the courtroom, I can see the jury, I can see Gannon's family, I can see the attorneys, I can see the screens, I can see the witness, but all I've got is the back of her head.
Right.
And so then I come back and then I watch your channel so that I can see what she was doing when I was staring at the back of her head or whatever,
Right.
I don't know. I think her attorneys are pretty confident, actually. I think that they feel real good about this this doctor that's coming in. I think their whole case is going to be, we've heard from the beginning, the defense doesn't have to prove that Letecia's insane. The prosecution has to prove that she's sane.
Right. True.
The burden of proof is on the prosecution.
Right.
I don't know if you've looked into this doctor at all, but
I heard there's a documentary because you did a video with somebody and it was about the topic of that documentary. What is it? The insane or crazy or something like that?
Yeah. So the documentary is called Crazy Not Insane.
Crazy Not Insane.
And you can rent it or buy it right here on YouTube, or it's streaming on HBO Max.
Okay.
But it's interesting. She's worked with more than 20 serial killers, and she interviewed Ted Bundy for 4.5 hours in a recorded interview the day before his execution back in 1989. Now, keep in mind, this doctor's in her 80s. It's
Wow.
it's going to be interesting, and I don't, that's another thing, being in the jury, most of these people don't have, I don't know, that's the responsibility of the jury in this case is huge. Because even with me reaching out to forensic psychiatrists and asking questions like, how does this work? What does it mean? The jury doesn't have that. They're just going to listen to the testimony and have to decide whether she was sane or insane.
All right.
That's heavy.
Right. I was wondering too, your thoughts and maybe your opinion on potential motive, especially somebody that's been covering it since day one with all the, especially the Google searches and everything. Do you have any thoughts on potential motive?
Well, keep in mind, it's just my opinion. But I believe that something happened Sunday night that she couldn't recover from. There was no explaining it away. There was no, I feel like everything that happened after Sunday night, and that's the night of the infamous, the candle video. I feel like something pretty terrible happened Sunday night, and everything that happened after that was an attempt to cover up and not be in trouble for whatever it was that happened Sunday night, to include Gannon's murder. I feel like that was her cleaning something up and removing him from the mix. And then finding out all of the things that I've learned since about and that's another thing that was confirmed today, or not today, I'm sorry, yesterday, was that she did in fact leave Gannon's phone at the Petco. And I've always thought she left his phone at the Petco, and then she came back and got it.
And the thing with the Switch to Nintendo Switch, is this the first time we're finding out that like it was with him?
It was not with him. They and they didn't say this in court, but I know this through somebody close to Gannon's mom. The Switch was found under a TV on a TV stand after the house was released back to the family while they were moving out, because Albert moved out of that house pretty much right after it was released back to them. And do you know somebody else re-rented that house, and there were new people living in that house by April.
Wow.
2020. Yeah.
Wow. So the January 27th was the murder, and by, you said April, the house already knew people living in there.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah, there's a lot.
All right, I'll take some questions from the chat. I know you have a YouTube thing and I was gonna tell you too, I don't know if you have your channel set up. I know you didn't schedule your stream yet, I see.
I haven't.
There's a way that like you can enable, I guess I won't be able to do it now, but like next time if you enable redirect, I might have to send you screenshots how to do it. One day if you come on again or at the end of the stream, I can just say, hey everybody, go check out Crime Curious, and I move everybody over there. So I'll send you screenshots on how to do that. I think
I'm fairly new to the YouTube. Well, I've been a lurker since the Chris Watts case, but
okay.
As far as having a channel and doing the live streams and all that, I'm learning.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
So the neighborhood asked, "Are you a paralegal?"
No, I'm not. No, I'm a project manager for a PI company.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's why I deal with an attorney every Thursday night so that I can ask all the legal questions.
And that's what's happening tonight, right?
Yeah.
Cha says, has Al still got custody of Lena?
Yes.
Yes.
Albert is remarried.
Does Landon? Sorry, go ahead.
Albert is remarried and had another child last year with his new wife. Together, they have 6 children, and his new wife also lost a son in August of 2020. And I think that they met at church, and their initial bonding, I think, happened because they both lost a son in that year. And she is definitely very supportive of him in the courtroom. Everything that I've seen, she's right there by his side.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. SV says, does Landon have another child too?
uh,
I guess.
yeah, Lena has a younger half sister named Nova.
Okay.
Yeah,
Somebody
but
says,
that's not Gannon passed. That's
right.
Yeah.
Who's Harley's father?
His name is Chance Hunt.
Okay.
He's deceased. As far as I know, it was like an accidental overdose sort of thing. But
Okay.
he's deceased.
Somebody said here, maybe you can confirm this. Cheesy Frog, thank you for the membership, says, did you know Letecia has been provided earplugs for the trial?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have to sit in the courtroom and listen to her screech about immunity, but apparently she doesn't have to. I wish I would have brought earplugs.
Holy crap. Amy, thank you for the super chat, says, do you know if there's any evidence of her singing with different names or other signs of the ID before the murder?
Oh, so probably signing with other names.
I
So
read that wrong. Yeah.
That was something that they brought up in court. That when Albert met her, and that's another thing. So her middle name is Lynn, Lynn. But if you look at the court record, she's booked at the jail under Letecia Leanne Stauch. And it just, anyway. So apparently when Albert met her, her profile said Tisha Taylor Hardin, which is her maiden name. But he didn't think that was like an alternate personality. She just said she loved that name and she always wanted that to be her middle name, so she just used it, But as far as I know, well, they are bringing in this doctor and another doctor. I know she's been diagnosed with things historically, but I think that
you're talking about, I thought I had her name here, Dr. Rhonda Niederhauser.
Niederhauser, yeah.
And so she's the one that prescribed her Xanax, I think.
Right. And then also encouraged her to quit her job because it was too mentally taxing. She was having like a breakdown, I guess. And so that was before, but it was right before. In some of these letters, actually, let me refer back to the letters. She does talk about seeing doctors for mental health reasons. I just have to remember where it is.
Yeah, no problem.
So right here, she says that she's OCD. She mentions bipolar. She mentions OCD. And she used the word schizophrenic in one of these letters as well. Now, I don't know if she's been diagnosed with that.
Letecia.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So consider the source, right?
Right.
Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't. Yeah, that's okay. I won't go through these, but
Betty here was asking do you think Leticia's daughter knew?
Oh, I want to avoid it so bad because I know
tired. That's a heavy one, right? These people are going to come for you. They might be watching.
So, okay, well, let me ask you this. What did you think when they were talking about finding the suitcase, that testimony with those first three witnesses? Mm-hmm. It seemed to me like they kept mentioning, like more than once, they mentioned how heavy that suitcase was.
Right.
And there were two full-size comforters. There was Gannon. Gannon weighed 90 pounds when he went missing. Now, I don't know if they're saying it was, I don't know. I keep hearing them say how heavy it was. It could have been heavy because, it had been rained on and but I just kept hearing that. We don't know yet. I mean, we're going to find out if Harley was back at the Candlewood Suites, because they got a room there for a few hours. And then, so I don't know if Harley was with her mom when she dumped the body or not, but I find it almost impossible to believe that she didn't smell something. that she didn't know something, based on the way her mom was acting and the way it was all going down. I'm sure that she was manipulated just like everyone else in Letecia's life. But I don't know. I recently drove from Colorado Springs to Virginia, and I went down through Texas. I went like New Mexico, Texas, and then back up and over into Virginia. And I did that on January 31st of this year. I made that road trip, and it took me several days. And it wasn't the exact route that they took, but, as close as I'm going to get. And when I left Colorado, I had the heater on. By the time I got to Texas, I had the windows down. It was warm. Now, this is 3 years later, so it's not like I made the trip on January 31st of 2020 like she did or they did. I find it almost impossible to believe that Harley didn't know. But that's my personal opinion.
Right. There's a lot of just weird stuff.
Yeah.
With that to not know. I mean, even from like the cleaning supplies. I mean, at that point, you could be like maybe okay, but then like you're literally making this trip with the body, Gannon in the van. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that trip took several days, and they took off on that trip on February 1st. So if Gannon was killed January 27th on a Monday, and then they leave on Saturday, February 1st, he's been gone almost a week at that point. And then it takes him, it took me 3 days to get to my destination. I assume it probably took him a few days to get to Florida, and then South Carolina. And they even went down into Orlando before coming back up and going to South Carolina.
That's what I was going to ask you. Can you maybe even repeat that or just because somebody's wondering too, and I'm kind of wondering, the suitcase travel, where was it the whole time? Is there a timeline on that? The whole specific from the murder to like her traveling to Florida? Is that still kind of stuff we don't really fully know yet?
Yeah, it's starting to come together. I know through the preliminary hearing and the affidavit mostly. That's why I know that they went down into Orlando after they were by the Escambia River Bridge. But I don't know the exact dates of when she arrived where. I know, of course, when she checked into the Candlewood Suites and when they believe Gannon's body was dumped. But like how long it took her after that and where she went, I don't know any of that yet. But we're going to find out.
We're going to find out. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Rolling with 7, for that question. So Nicole says, and this is just, I don't even think anybody really knows. She's questioning, how come no one heard the shots? Could it have been picked up by neighbors' cameras?
I mean, you would think so. You would think so.
Right. Do you remember how many shots have they said? I thought I took.
So there was one projectile in his jaw. So he was shot in the jaw. And then there were 2 other bullets in the pillow. So like, I heard a news clip earlier from back at the preliminary hearing, which was September of 2021. And the news reporter said that he had been shot 3 times, but he wasn't. He was shot 1 time. And then there were 2 bullets in the pillow that was found in the suitcase.
And then stabbed.
And I feel like she did all that overkill because she was trying to make it look like a cartel hit. You remember the suitcases to Florida? So that's why the overkill. And that's another thing that made me nervous from the preliminary hearing. They had somebody come up and testify, which we didn't have access to that. That one wasn't on WebEx. All we had was tweets from the courtroom from a journalist. So I'm really glad they're doing the WebEx. It's public information and we should have it. But
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was concerned because they had somebody on the stand who testified that the cause of death was gunshot wounds and blunt force trauma to the head. But then when the defense came up and cross-examined the witness admitted that they couldn't be sure if those things happened before or after he was deceased. Mm-hmm. So, that made me a little nervous. Surely they've buttoned that back up by now.
I was wondering too, any thoughts on like maybe why they don't have media in there? or you might probably not know. I was just
Well, they do. They do. There's 2 rows of journalists behind the defense. But the cameras have to stay outside. No cameras in the hallway. So there is media that's in there. They weren't allowed there during jury selection because it's not a very big room, and they were bringing in 75 people a day. And so they only allowed for 2 people from the media to be in the room. But now it's open.
and why not the cameras?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think
They're doing a pretty decent job though, compared to, because I've seen even some media companies struggle and stuff there. I'm surprised I'm glad that they actually have a witness video feed now, because they didn't have that for a while. So we can actually see. But yeah, I think it totally should be public so everybody can see what happened and the story.
Yeah.
Jackie asked, and thank you for the super chat, says, please ask if Letecia's demeanor seems indifferent or relaxed during downtime. That might be hard for you to tell because you're not seeing her, right?
I'm surprised that she has maintained as much composure as she has maintained, especially if she's trying to play crazy. I'm expecting to see some sort of antics, but I really haven't seen any.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, she's sitting there very calm, and she does try to hide a lot. And they did mention yesterday, before they brought the jury in, the judge mentioned that one of the jury members had reached out to him and asked if it was okay if because Letecia had made some smirks, or she obviously disagreed with what was being said or something like that, and the jury wanted to know if they're allowed to take that into account.
Right.
And, that's still kind of unclear. I don't think they ever revisited the topic, but
there's a lot of questions. Let me see. There was somebody asked, I can't see the name anymore, but they were saying she actually knew Edgar, Rhode Island connection, ?
It could be. I mean, so far that's the only Rhode Island connection that I can make out.
Right. And that particle board where it was found, that's on the property of somebody named Edgar.
No.
No?
Okay. Edgar is a code name. That's not his name. And I'm not going to release his name until I see, I want to be real careful. I am responsible with the information I do have. I guess, okay, so here's what I can tell you how it started, that I even put it together. When Gannon went missing in 2020, I was living in Monument, which is just north of Colorado Springs, but I was bartending in Palmer Lake. And so, I was pretty familiar with the area, and it was very close to home. And I've driven over there, I can't even tell you how many times now, and I'll leave something at the site, like a painted rock, or something like that. And a lot of people do that. But I was sitting there, it was like the 1-year anniversary. So it would have been January of 2021. And I was sitting there in that spot because there's a place where you can pull off right at that, what they call an S curve.
Okay.
And so I was sitting there and just kind of, I don't know, listening to the silence, I guess. It's real quiet out there. And I saw a real estate sign and realized, it just it was on that property where the gate is that goes back to where the particle board was found. And I remember it striking me funny because at that point I had not looked into, I just assumed that, I guess I just never looked into who owned the property or, because it's just, it's this open space. And anyway, so I took a picture of the real estate sign. And then months later, I was talking with another woman who has a YouTube channel who shared some of her letters with me. Her name is Jules, and her channel, I think, is called Another Day in the Car. But she also traded letters with Letecia for about a year. And I had known through talking to her that Letecia told her this guy's name in one of the letters. And was saying that that's who killed Gannon and kidnapped him. But she didn't tell me the name, and I didn't ask for it, So it struck me about this real estate sign. And so I sent Jules an email and I was like, okay, I got to know. I'm not asking you to tell me, but if I give you a name, will you tell me, is this Edgar? And I sent her the name and she said, yeah, that's him. I was like, I knew it. I knew it, because then that makes sense of why the particle board was there, because she was trying to frame this man for Gannon's murder. And in my opinion, that means that when she left the house that morning, purposely left her phone at home after, texting her employer about her stepfather being killed that day.
Right,
So she
right.
went to work and, all of the things that she did, then it begins to make sense. And now she's talking about how, Edgar is this gangster who transports, money and objects and suitcases to Florida.
Wow.
Yeah. So his name hasn't been released. Like I said, his name's not on the witness list, but the idea that Lee Egan from Crime Online has been subpoenaed to testify. I know that Letecia told Lee Egan all about Edgar, and that Edgar should be in jail for manslaughter, kidnapping, and tampering, and that her husband should be in jail for manslaughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I don't want to hold you too long because I know you got the other stream coming in a bit.
Yeah.
And I know you probably need a little downtime and prepare and stuff. So just a couple more questions and we'll JR asks, Letecia claimed to be abused as a child. What kind of abuse and by who? And I'll say with that, since you've been covering this, do you know anything else further than what we've heard in the trial?
Well, she's made a lot of claims, but it's according to Letecia. So
Right.
What can I really say?
Exactly.
I did notice that they kind of tiptoed around a couple of things yesterday when Albert was on the stand. And I thought, remember when I was going back in, I was thinking they were going to go hard at him, and they really didn't. Not really.
Right. Yeah.
But they started to talk about whether or not when Albert and Letecia got together, if they had bonded over some similar abuse issues.
Right.
And I thought they were going to take that all the way south, which I'm glad they didn't, because, Albert's not on trial,
Right. Yeah, some people were kind of criticizing him almost as if he was on trial or something.
She's claimed abuse about as many times as she claims to have been hit on the head and blacked out.
Right. Here's a really good question too, and I'm curious about this myself. Amy, thank you for the super chat. Says, regarding what the public has the right to see, have you heard when the court exhibits will be eligible to the public and how they can be accessed? I've been wondering too, like these body cams and stuff that you're seeing in the trial, will they be released? You might not know, but I'm just wondering how we can see it too,
Yeah, I don't know if they will or not. I know that if you put in a request, like for the body cam footage right now, you're going to get denied because it's still, open. But like in the case, it's up to the court, what they put out there. Sometimes they're really good about getting that information out. Like if you look at the case against Mark Redwine, which happened down in Durango.
What's that about?
He killed his 13-year-old son when he was there visiting for Thanksgiving in 2012. And his son didn't want to be there. It was a forced custody issue. And, his mom never saw him again. But the way that they have that paperwork put together, like there's a part 1 and a part 2 and a part 3, and how to get to the pieces of evidence, and they put all that evidence up there. And, but it's, each court is different.
Okay. All right. I think, well, let me see if I can get anything else before. Okay. Kona's mom says, crime curious. Thank you for being Gannon's hero. He's visiting you to say thank you. It can't be easy with what you're doing. We appreciate you. The chat loves you. I really appreciate you coming through because I learned a lot just sitting here talking to you.
Thanks.
Yeah. We have to have you back sometime. Especially as the trial progresses.
Yeah. And definitely. And it helps me because this is a lot. I thought going in, I'm a professional, I can handle it. You know, I can be objective, you know, in, out, do my job, do what I'm supposed to do, document it, reach out to the sources, you know. And there have been several times over the last 3 years that I've gone to some pretty dark places, and only my closest, you know, friends and loved ones are able to just kind of like reach in there and grab me and pull me back out of the rabbit holes. So I appreciate the ability to, you know, or the chance to even talk about it, you know.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And where can people find you so we can find you on your YouTube page, right? Or anywhere else? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm really bad with social media.
Okay.
But definitely for now, you know, the YouTube channel and the website.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Yeah, I'll put your links. I'll come later too and watch your live stream.
Yeah. Anybody who has questions that they want answered by an attorney about this case, definitely come over to the channel. As soon as we get off of here, I'll schedule the stream. So
yeah, schedule the stream, and then I'll send you when I have a chance. It would have been nice if I could have moved people over now, but I'll send you screenshots of the option in your YouTube studio to enable redirect. And so, because I'm sure we'll probably link up again sometime, and then next time I can actually move people over to your channel so that less, you know, they can just be moved over without having to click and stuff.
Okay.
So, but yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you.
All right, take care. All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Amazing. It would have been nice to be able to move her forward, but I'm gonna, after the stream later on, I'll send her a screenshot. She's new to YouTube. Let me put her channel up on the screen again. So she's gonna be on tonight on her channel with an attorney. Crime Curious with an attorney. And she was in my chat the other day, and BL had pointed it out to me, and she reached out, and I figured, you know, I learned a lot, not even knowing. This is the type of people I should be like, hey guys, go check out. Not that stuff last night, that mess last night. This is the stuff like, yo, here, this is a good channel. Go support, go check out. This is the real, you know, the real deal. And I'm so glad too that I had these articles up on the screen, because I did not know this lady. So this woman, Leigh Egan, she writes for Crime Online, and I feel like there's some sort of connection with Nancy Grace. I don't remember what. You know what I just thought about, man? Remember we used to have the fun Nancy Grace streams. I wonder if is Nancy Grace talking about this case? Nancy Grace. Maybe one of the days that we have off, we can listen to Nancy too. I don't know. Oh, and there's that crazy thing right now going on too. I haven't had a chance to cover it. I played it during the lunchtime. 3 teens murdered. Sheriff SWAT serial killer talk. Might check that out sometime. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming through today. If you guys can so what's going to happen now is I'm going to redirect you, I guess, to the trial for tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be back here again for the trial, day 4, Friday. And so I'll redirect people to that. I've used up my notifications for today. If you guys could hit like too, please hit like, subscribe. That would really help out as well. We'll be back tomorrow. Saturday, I have AT&T coming out. They're going to check out the internet again. I don't think we should have those problems as long as I reset the modem every day. But I'm having them come out on Saturday anyway to take a look at the line. I'm upgrading the internet, even though I really don't need to upgrade it. Like, I already have the fast. Like, I have 1,000 down, 1,000 up. I don't really see a reason for 2,000 down and 2,000 up. But I figure, why not? I'm going to upgrade the internet, even though I have more than enough. But while a guy's here, because I think he's going to have to change out the modem, I'm just going to have him like, hey, can you check out the lines? Can you check out the actual source outside and all this stuff, just to make sure everything is good? So I don't keep having these issues. And maybe he can do some line tests as well. So that's going to be Saturday. And who knows? If crimes have consequences. Who knows? Maybe we'll get into the chase tonight. That was such a pleasant conversation. She's so easy to talk to. I love that. Some people, sometimes it's a little bit harder to talk to. And a little bit harder. Oh, crime online is owned by Nancy Grace. Okay. Super easy to talk to. Thank you for everybody that submitted questions too. I mean, you guys really make it easy for me. Thank you. Because I was looking at your questions last night and today, and it starts making me ask questions too, different questions. It makes my my mind wandered, and I figured too while we were talking, I missed some of the questions too in the Discord. Sorry, the new questions. But in reading the questions, it makes me start asking different questions, and I think it helps us out as well altogether. Ask different things. So it was a really nice, good convo. Thank you. The camera looks good. Thanks. Usually on StreamYard, it doesn't look that good, but I don't normally stream on StreamYard, but I figured for simplicity and to have a little, I almost don't even like to call them interviews sometimes, but I put it in the title because then people hold things to like some crazy standard, like, oh, but if you're interviewing, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. And how do you call the thing too is like they used to go crazy with the journalist thing. I'm not a journalist, but they used to, you're a journalist, you're supposed to do that, or you're an interviewer. I'm just having a conversation, man. I'm just talking. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm freelancing. I'm going off the top of my head. I'm reading questions, whatever. There's no structure. We're just talking. Structure is nice though. The thing I like about this lady, Jennifer, she has a really, really nice website. I'm impressed with the website. She is super organized. You see how she had all her documents and stuff, all her documents there, everything. I'm like, wow, she had all this paperwork, the notes. I'm learning things I didn't even know about this story. Very easy to bounce off of. So amazing. Lotfi. Yeah, I don't know why this woman Letecia got headphones in that courtroom. By the way, this morning Dazzler Donuts was a mess. I told you guys like today was Dazzler Donuts at the school. I went there this morning. I dropped off Maddie, and then like I went to go chill. I went and got some breakfast because it's at 9. The Dazzler Donuts. Little did I know I should have just stayed in the parking lot. My friend told me after, like, you don't even bother leaving. I came back 5 minutes before 9 because I thought the gate was gonna be closed. It wasn't. And I got there, the place was like cars backed up. You couldn't park anywhere. Cars parked on the street. I had to park like almost a block away. And then when I got in there, there's this long line, because they have to like ID people to get in. But the IDing process was horrible. They had one person, and the one person is going slow as hell, and they scan your ID. And if it doesn't scan, then they got to type it in manually. Then you got to wait for the sticker to come out. And it's the same lady doing the sticker. I think they should have 2 separate people. And by the time I finally get in, the cafeteria is packed. It's a circus in there. It's a mess. Even Maddie's teacher told me, she was like, they weren't expecting this. They seem very ill prepared. But my friend told me, like, that's kind of how it is. Like these little events, just show up, whatever, smile. So I went, but it wasn't the experience I thought it was going to be. But I showed up. I was there for Maddie. So what ID? Because it was our school. They don't let anybody in without IDing you. So, but yeah, it was a mess. But we got there. Maddie was eating and all that. A mess. Dazzler Donuts. Circus. Lord, what the hell is this? Anyway, tomorrow's no school for the kids. Tomorrow is Good Friday. Tomorrow, I think Maddie's going to be with my mother. My mother offered to take Maddie tomorrow, so copyright claim. Oh, they're trying to claim the live chase. Lord almighty. Lord. Yeah, Maddie was good. She was happy. So, but I didn't know what I was. It was my first time doing that in kindergarten. They had one in her daycare, which is really nice. But once you start getting into those regular schools, oh, it's a mess. It's packed. There's messes everywhere. There's a huge line. Mel, have you ever talked to Linda Linda It's a Crime? No, I never talked to her. I've seen her videos. She seems like a really nice creator. I've never talked to her. It's a Crime. I've seen her channel before. She's pretty big. I thought she did like collabs with somebody else or something too, right? Some other YouTuber, I think. Dads with donuts. Oh yeah, come! It's gonna be a great time. Oh, you'll love it. It's a mess. Kids running all over the place. Parents lost, confused. Ah! The mess. Anyway, yeah, so I will catch you guys in the morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Take care of like your mental health. Like I told you, I'm on detox now, which feels amazing. And sometimes like, why do I even drink? Like, because I just feel, I don't know if it's just that or like the sleeping good and working out. I was like, what's the purpose of drinking? You know, they say, I mean, I love like a nice glass of wine or whatever. The vodka is like, vodka is my favorite liquor, but it just takes so much out of you when you drink that stuff. Even like one drink or two drinks, it takes a lot out of you. A glass of wine is not so bad. But now they're trying to say like there's some new studies, I think. They're saying alcohol is not good for you at all. You know how that's to say like, oh yeah, a glass of wine is good for your heart and shit. Now they're saying it's just completely bad. Good for you at all. Some sort of new study. No level of this is from the World Health Organization, so take it with a, you know, I don't trust these motherfuckers. But anyway, no level of alcohol consumption is safe for our health. The risk and harms associated with drinking alcohol have systematically evaluated over the years and are well documented. Even a drop of alcohol. Did you guys know that? They changed it now. Now even a glass of wine is dangerous and detrimental to your health. You seen that shit? There kind of is no benefits to alcohol, right? It's just like to enjoy yourself, I guess, have a little buzz. I mean, there's no like nutritional value, right? There's no like it's nothing like it was okay for Jesus. Cha-cha. Alcohol's canceled now by the World Health Organization, bro. Lord almighty. Nah, I don't think I'll ever fully quit, but I like my little breaks just to, I don't know, discipline, detox, feel good. And then especially the trial, long haul, you know, and I just feel like I'm more social too with no alcohol. It's just kind of like Adderall. Adderall, for some reason, at first, I used to be very social. Over time, it made me like antisocial. You know, I don't know. So I had to stop. Play for You says, since hubby doesn't have chemo. Oh, yeah. Steve, right? So, since hubby doesn't have chemo again until Monday, I'll be here tomorrow. Amazing. And thank you so much for the company. I certainly enjoyed it. Thank you. How's he doing? That chemo stuff is it's rough. Carly, I mean, a beer is great for a woman's milk supply when breastfeeding. There is what is that thing? There's a supplement that's really good for women for breastfeeding, but I can't remember. A supplement on it a long time ago. Like fruit and stuff too. Why the first thing that pops up is cachava? That's some bullshit. Bro, just took cachava, man. Oh yeah, fenugreek. Fenugreek. Palm date. Bruh. They listening on everything. You're looking up breast milk stuff and they're advertising cachava. Cachava, bro. It's good for everything, man. Breastfeeding, all kinds of stuff. Play for You. Yep, that's his name. Great of you to remember. He's doing a lot of sleeping. but doing well so far. That's good. I think it's I like to take ginkgo biloba. That stuff is really good for memory. I'm usually pretty bad with memory. I think once a day, ginkgo biloba. I think it's good for your blood too, but it helps out with memory. No, you didn't. Mars said, I got a Kachava ad on your channel. No. You're getting Kachava ads? Alana said, I keep getting Kachava ads during your live. I wonder if it's because I'm talking about it and the algorithm is picking it up. That it's just like, all right, we're going to put these ads. Vitamin D is really good. Yeah. So the other thing I think that really helps me out a lot, and I've known this for a while, is I like to get some sun, like physical, like actual get out in the sun. Even if I go to the gym for a little bit, then I go for like a little jog. It's just something about the sun that just makes my mood so much better. I like to do it before streaming, like before the trials. That's what I do in the morning. After dropping off Maddie, I'll go do a little exercise, get some sun for a little bit, and I feel great. St. John Warts. I've heard of that. I've tried it once. That supplement. I take collagen too. I mix that in my Kachava and my protein. B12. No, you didn't. McConnell's mom said I drink Kachava and made me gain weight. Oh, Lord. Maybe I shouldn't take it. So, all right, man. So I'm going to join later for a little bit. I'm going to listen in and show some support. I'll drop her a link to her channel again. Crime Curious. I'm curious. Salute to her. One more time. I'll put it in the chat. It's in the description. It's in the title. And yeah, for tomorrow, just make sure you hit like for the stream. Notify yourself. And we'll be back. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. All right. Love you. Adios.